Welcome to my podcast, which is all about changing your business and money reality. This is your master money coach, Dr. Gaurav Deka, and you are money. Hey guys, what's up, you all? I am so excited today to host our 10th episode. This episode is called Making 27,000 USD in a single month. And in this episode, we will be interviewing trauma expert Shruti Tibrewal, who happens to be our student in ATEPS. So I'm so looking forward to listening to her journey as a trauma expert and how she created 27K USD in one single month. So go ahead, listen to our conversation here. Hey Shruti, welcome to the 10th episode. This happens to be the most special episode because it's 10th. After 9 successful episodes on this podcast, we are able to have the 10th one. And there couldn't have been a better one, actually, than to having you in this podcast for the 10th one. It's almost like an anniversary, mini anniversary. So welcome. And I would like you to take the stage and tell us a little about yourself, your current profession. We will go back to your older profession, but first of all, you tell us about your current profession that you do, current work that you do.
Sure. So thank you for having me here, Gaurav. I'm most honored, and I feel so good to be here. And about me and my current profession, I work as a trauma-informed therapist and a life coach. And currently, I am dedicated to bringing harmony and consciousness in workplaces. Like I'm working with some corporates, and I'm also dedicated on working one-on-one with my clients so as to bring up their highest potential within themselves, do the childhood trauma work, and bring out their relationship with their own self, strengthening that so that they can live life fully. That is one of my biggest offerings. And I also do some group based work, group workshops. I also conduct some master classes because I also intend to educate people around this topic since the awareness is pretty less. So I try to do my part. Yeah.
Right. That's wonderful work that you are doing. You know what I'm most intrigued about telling people is how you started your journey as a CA, chartered accountant, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And then you went through a whole journey of sorts, and rather an inner one more than an outer one. And today you happen to be a trauma expert, right? And you are doing exceptionally well in this field. You were also doing exceptionally well as a CA. And I want our audience to know from your journey as an example as to how you could be coming from any damn space. You could have any profession, but then it is your choice which will make you who you are more than your capabilities. It is not that you were not doing great being a CA. You were doing great. You were capable, but you had a different choice, right? Because of which you are a trauma expert today. So tell us about that journey, and what brought you to this choice that you made.
Okay. So I invested about 8 to 10 years of my life when I include my studies as well as my work that I did in like 3 corporates. I worked in 3 multinational corporates, and the entire stint is of almost 10 years, Gaurav. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I did not know about anything about trauma. I did not know anything about any conscious intelligence that we have within us. I did not know about instincts. I did not know about gut. I only knew about this intellectual brain.
Right.
And I used to just operate from this 10% in my life.
The cognitive
However,
one, yeah.
The
Yeah.
cognitive one, yeah. And I was doing well, and I did
Mm-hmm.
not know of any possibility that existed beyond it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
my life as a CA and my whole stint has been within this narrow space. That is
Hmm.
number one.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. Second is it was pretty stereotypical, doing the same sort of projects, doing the same thing. And it was kind of a space where it's I'm not recognizing what I'm exactly good at. I am recognizing the needs and the availability of the company, and accordingly I was being selected for any project that was available. So I could do that, I could do that, I could plan, I could structure, I could do that. However, after a point, I wanted to do something that I like,
Right.
and it went beyond money. So when I qualified as a CA, I was only 22,
Hmm.
and it made me feel like an adult because I'm a CA. That's
That's a
all.
pretty, young age to be a CA. I find people trying, because I'm assuming that there are a lot of examinations that they have to cross. And I find people, reaching the maximum highest potential at around 27 or 28. To be 22 and being a CA full-fledged is
Yeah.
a high task, I would say. It's a high performance one.
Yeah. And however, I did not feel like that. And people around me felt like that. So for me, CA was all about getting validation
Right.
and getting that kick of, everybody praising you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. So my father is a CA, so he was very happy. And today I realized that one of the main reasons for me to do CA and be a CA was to look at that validation on his face.
Hmm.
And it was also about all those people. It was always about the people around me and
Right.
getting that validation from them. Even in
Right.
my company, that
Right.
was what was driving me, and not what I want to do or what I would like to pursue. So that
Hmm.
threshold kind of collapsed after a few years for me.
Right, right, right. And what was the feeling behind the collapse? A lot of people talk about shifts, and they say that, oh, the shift happened to me when for example, in my case, the shift happened when I went through, the depression while studying medicine. And I didn't know that that is what is going to happen when I would join a med school. But that's exactly what happened. So for you, what was the feeling that took you to that to the shift, basically? Because I do know that you had a shift because of which you are what you are today.
Yeah. So I went into a period of very low mood, depressive period, because I was no longer able to do things for validation.
Hmm.
It just stopped, and it
Yeah.
was it was rather constricting me after a point of time.
Mm-hmm.
And not working for validation felt so unfamiliar to my body that it went into depression. It went
Right, it's sort of
into a
shut
toss.
down. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So that was my biggest learning, that I gradually realized that that was my reason of collapse, that I could not work for validation, and I could also not own the responsibility of my own self. So I
Hmm.
was somewhere in between, and I had nothing at that
Right.
time.
Right. 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 And that became the door of a new light for you,
Totally.
right? Because it's through the dip that you discover that, okay, there is a different world. It's like almost falling into, Alice's rabbit hole, and then you fall into it, and then you feel that I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling, and there is no end to it. It's like bottomless, pitless, and then you enter a different world, which is the world that you are today.
Yeah.
So that's
So the question,
incredible. Yeah, yeah.
Gaurav, sorry to stop you, but the question, like, what else is possible?
Mm-hmm.
This simple question, it came into my realm after going through such a depressive period.
Right, right, right,
It was
right.
not there before. I was not asking what else is possible because I was having this limited salary and it was
Mm-hmm.
coming every month. So I was okay. I was like, it's a
Yeah.
stable life.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a learning for almost, I mean, all our audience. I would say that, we all live inside a box of context, and the parameters of the context is decided by us. Like, I am supposed to be a CA at 22. I'm supposed to be earning X amount of money by the time I'm 25. I'm supposed to get married at 27. These are
Yeah.
contexts that we set. And then things that are out of context is I am 28 or I'm 29 or I'm 35 probably, and I cannot change my profession. It's madness to become a trauma expert or once you've like been a successful, doctor, CA, lawyer. I mean, what kind of jump is that? People think of that way, but
Yeah.
that's exactly how we actually discover our truest self, right?
Yes.
Um, so Shruti, I also would want our audience to know that, you started your journey and you did a lot of different kinds of stuff. You went and did past life regression therapy, you did inner child work, then you were also into tarot, and a bunch of other stuff. But then we see, and because we know each other, we see that you are so much more into working with the body, which is basically the nervous system. And at the same time, you work with the nervous system by um, incorporating intergenerational work, inherited family trauma, family constellations, systemic work, which is basically the work that we do with, people's families, right? By figuring out what kind of traumas they might be carrying from their intergenerational line. I see a lot of new therapists, new coaches, new healers going through this thing called the niche drama. They want to find out what niche they are. What is my niche? What is my niche? Should I be working with the nervous system? Should I be working with past life? Should I be working with regression? And I say that the niche is not important. You will discover the niche in due course of time. um, please tell us that how did you discover your niche, and how did it become the niche that you knew that this is exactly what I want to do?
Okay. So I'm fairly open, by the way.
Mhm.
If my niche evolves itself, I'm open and I will
Right.
let it evolve. So I want to first point out that there's no fixed niche per se that you will get and then you can lock it. I would say
And that's the
continue
secret
to.
of making money. Like people say, oh, I found my niche and that's the secret of making more money. I just debunk it for the
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very important to be in that space. Otherwise, you'll get locked again. It's another
Hmm.
context and you'll fit yourself into that. However, currently, I find my niche to be working on self,
Hmm.
relationship with self.
Yeah.
And I found that to be the basis of everything that I can create in my life,
Hmm.
be it in my relationships, finance, be it my career, be it my health. All
Hmm.
aspects depend on the first factor of how is the relationship of me with my own self, my attitude towards things. Am I true to who I am, or am I lying to myself and others? So all of that is so important because it reflects in all aspect of life.
That is so true.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so that became my niche. I also did a group workshop called
Hmm.
Relationship with Self, and it
Hmm.
was a month-long workshop. It was very successful, and
Right.
it rather boosted my confidence to call myself as a self coach. you know.
Yeah. So people, that's what I want people to know from you, Shruti, that we discover our niche. We don't necessarily decide our niche, right? it's
Totally.
it's it's a process in evolution. So Shruti, tell us um, more about how does it feel to be in this niche now, to be working exclusively as someone who looks at people's relationship with themselves. How does it feel to do this work, and how do you look back at all the work that you have done before, which may not necessarily be connected to this niche? How does it feel to work as this person that you are today, as this professional that you are today?
How does it feel when you
Yeah.
ask? It feels extremely satisfying.
Hmm.
It feels whole in a way.
Right.
I feel I'm making meaningful connections, and
Hmm.
I'm not just talking about something that's going around and then forgetting about it. I'm genuinely
Hmm.
finding connection, and I'm also finding so much contribution when I witness the transformation of my clients.
Right.
Like it's
Right.
it's so magical. It just enhances the whole feeling, and it also every story and every client brings an opportunity for me to look at my own life and
Right.
improve my attitude as well. So it's like a two-way thing that keeps on happening, and it's
I think
so
that's
mutual.
I think
Yeah.
that's, sorry to cut you. I think that's the
No.
essence of coaching work that we do, that all our clients are reflections of ourselves. And the more we do our own thought work, the more actually we contribute to the world,
Totally,
right?
totally. It is not about reading books and mugging up something. It is about doing the thought work, listening to your own body. And it
Yeah.
is so different from what we have learned as academicians. It's very
Yeah,
different.
yeah. Of course, in academic is more cognitive learning, and it's more intellectual learning, and that's not what we do here, right? Here we question thoughts. We in fact question things that we have learned in academia. So,
Totally.
Shruti, now to the grand news. Recently, you made 27 USD, 27K USD, 27,000 USD, which is close to 21 lakh Indian rupees in a single month, right? And this happened after you were a part of the pilot group of ATEPS. So tell us all about that. How does it feel? What's happening inside you?
Okay, so what's happening inside me is I'm getting layers of joy through goosebumps in my body from time to time, because
Right.
I'm still processing this feeling. I'm still processing it, and it's incredible to create something that you never even dreamt of to begin with earlier, and then thinking about it, desiring for it, and having it. It's a
Mm,
complete circle. It's like breaking that barrier of having something that you could not think of before. So it's
right,
broken for me. It's just
right,
like another
right,
portal. Yeah.
right, right.
And I'll tell you the most crazy thing that happened for me in the pilot batch of ATEPS, and it was this particular session when you were teaching all of us, or rather helping us to create our 100K models, right?
Right, right. So I teach a particular class called making your first 100K. Yeah,
Yes, making your
yeah,
first 100K, exactly. So
yeah.
that's very important. And
Mm.
yeah,
100K,
and
100K dollars, by the way.
yes,
Yeah,
100K
yes,
dollars.
yes.
And the thing is, you allowed us to tap into the lightest model possible, lightest for
Mm.
each one of us, and how unique it can be for each one of us. And you also helped us in creating a loose structure for it.
Yeah,
So that was the first day when I had something tangible in my hand of creating my first 100K. And I did that exercise with you of finding the lightest way possible, and my body did give me the answer.
right.
And even though I did not believe as much in that day, when it
Hmm.
happened, but
Hmm.
then after a few days it kept coming back to me like a visual, like a vision, and it kept
Hmm.
on growing. It kept on
Hmm.
growing. So that was one of the major things, to at least sit and find and just write on a piece of paper, like, do this as an activity, and we don't think of doing something like that.
That's the
So
biggest difference. That's the biggest difference. That people think thoughts.
yeah.
People don't, people don't put down their thoughts on paper. And
Yeah.
that simple act can make so much of difference. We don't even think. Yeah, please continue. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was amazing, Gaurav. Like, I did not know it until I realized it in my life. Now I realize it even at a deeper level. How important is it to
Mm-hmm.
just sit in the beginning and just write whatever feels right to you and whatever feels easy to you. It doesn't have to be tough. Find
Yeah.
the easiest way possible. And post that, there was something that was thought error work. You
Thought
did this
error work. Yeah.
turn around thoughts, and the thought error work
Thought
where,
errors, counter thoughts, thoughts that
yes,
block us from getting there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you helped us into finding out the thoughts that we don't see consciously. Doing that activity, it made me realize that there are so many thoughts that I avoid, and they actually make my body go into a lower frequency, and it just it just makes my day very narrow.
Yeah.
So when I
Yeah.
when I did that work and I started looking at my money beliefs, a lot of inner work showed up for me actually in
Hmm.
past 2 months. It was a lot of inner work, and it was nothing, no plan, no
Hmm.
structure, and it was only my belief work. And the main thing that I figured out here was that my worth will not be decided by anybody else, and no amount of money is going to decide my worth. And even though I've got this response, Gaurav, even on that day I knew that it's not my worth that is getting decided today.
Right. Right.
And that was one of the major work that I did after ATEPS, that my worth is inside of me and not outside of me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I literally released all the other beliefs that were blocking it.
Mm-hmm.
And you also actually taught me that how money is conscious and it will
Mm-hmm.
come to you if you allow it to come to you,
Right.
and it is
Right.
nothing to do with chasing it.
Yeah.
So all my thoughts around chasing money, around being hard on it and being very stringent about it,
Hmm.
I simply wrote them, I released them, I did various ways of releasing them,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I did that. Yeah.
Right, right. But you invested actively in the belief work uh, that we talk about in ATEPS, and that's the difference between information and application. You know, people tell me that you put out a lot of stuff on Instagram, you put out a lot of stuff on Facebook. Aren't you concerned that all of these things that you put out, people will use those things in a way, and then they will not turn up in your program. And I say that information does not heal, application does. People
Yeah.
are not hiring me for information because information is out there in the world. They are hiring me to help them do the work. you
Yeah.
know so and that's the beauty of ATEPS, because in ATEPS we actually do the work,
Do the work. Yes. Yes.
right?
Even there's this thing that you say in ATEPS, that be willing to receive 1,000 no's before you receive a yes. And
Right.
and I'll tell you a very small
That's
story
not
of.
my code, by the way. That's Byron Katie's code. And like she says
Okay.
that
Okay.
receive 1,000 no's before you receive a yes, because yes lives in the land of no.
Yeah, and it's more about being like, be willing to receive those no's.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
about being, it's not about literally receiving 1,000 no's, but are you willing?
yeah,
It's more
yeah.
about having the space. So when I heard about, like, I heard my first no, I got my first no. I kept my client's call and I asked myself, what in me brought this no,
Hmm.
and what was it in my body and in my space that didn't allow this to convert. And the
Wow, that's such a
and
beautiful turnaround. Like, what is it in
yeah.
me that brought this no? Instead of,
Yeah.
oh, I got this no, which means it's not going to work out. So I had to change my strategy and all of that bullshit, basically. So,
Yeah.
what is it in me that this no showed up, and what needs to change within me,
Yes.
right? Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead.
And the most beautiful answer that showed up was that I need to drop my expectation from the journey of my client. As in, I had these expectations that if this client works with me, she will her this problem will be resolved, this will get better, that will get better. And that burden of expectations, it was somewhere there within me, however I thought it's not there. And when I heard that no, this came to my awareness, and I dropped all expectations when I went
Right.
for my second call.
Absolutely, because you figured out that we are not the decider of our client's destination.
Never.
That way we can keep working with them as long as they want to keep working with us, because they see value in the work that we are providing, right? So Shruti, how does that tie in with the fact that now your one-on-one sessions are 6 months long, in contrast to you doing a single session or maybe 2-3 sessions and then moving on to the next client, or letting them go? How do you feel, and how do you think the 6-month model has worked for you in a way where you can see that this is one light model that can actually take me to my first 100K?
Okay. Um, can you repeat this? Like, what? when you say how does it tie to, what do you mean
So
exactly?
for example, right now you have a leaner model, right?
Right, right.
Which is like a 6 months. So I work with someone for 6 months, and then um, how much is the price? It's 6,000 USD, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
right. So if we keep looking at that model, how do you feel about that simple model as a launch pad to create your first 100K?
It is, I feel it's beyond great actually. I wanted to say great, but it's not great. It's something, it's very safe actually, I would say. It's a very
Mm,
safe and an expansive sort of a feeling. I never thought this will be my launch pad and it will appear so soon, even though
mm,
I believed in it and I
mm.
worked towards it. But until it happens, you don't integrate it fully, right?
Right,
So
right.
so now is that time of integration, and I feel that an expansive and a secure sort of a space where I can
Yeah,
invest myself fully to these clients and their
right.
journey. And
Yeah.
I know that they are also going to show up. They have committed to this. And it's not like every week I have to think whether this client will show up or not,
Mm, mm.
whether I will be doing this or
Right,
not. So
right.
it's a very enriching sort of an experience.
So I have two questions here, Shruti. One is, a lot of people feel that I can't have a lean model. Basically, I can't do one-on-one sessions and make something like 75 lakhs in a year, which is close to 100K. What do you want to tell those people, or what do you want to tell those new coaches or baby coaches who, come up and think that, oh, that kind of money is not possible because I have to do a lot of stuff, make as many as like 5 6 offers, do workshops, do programs, do one-on-one, and that is when I'll probably get to something like 50K.
Yeah.
Which, and your model is an absolute opposite of that. It's like the leanest thing that we can see. And we discover that in ATEPS, so what do you want to tell to those people, the new
Yeah.
coaches, who
Yeah.
aspire but feel that that's a lot?
Okay. So there's one thing and only one thing that I want to tell to all the new coaches and the ones who are invested in self work, okay, in any capacity, is do your inner work, work on your money beliefs, let these thoughts appear, they will keep coming. I had the thought, when I initially launched Chitta, it was like
Chitta
I
is the
used
name
to
of your program. Yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
I used to think that I will do master classes, I will do group programs, I will invite people, I will make them aware. But it turned out to be a very inner experience for me. And the main conversion happened in the last week. In the last
Hmm.
week, most of the calls were scheduled in the last week. And before that, it was all about inner work. So,
One single week.
one single week. So, I was every day I used to ask, what would it take for me to vibrate at the frequency of 6,000 USD for four people?
Amazing.
you know
Amazing. Yeah.
Instead of all that thought chain that used to come to me, that I should do master classes, I'm not posting on social media enough, I'm not calling people enough, they
Right.
will keep coming. But do your inner work. Nothing else can help you. You have to
Hmm.
increase your frequency. You have to allow your body to feel safe to receive that kind of response.
Right.
And you will know when it's time for you more than
Right.
anything, and you will get your model as well. So maybe a lean model works for me but not for
Hmm.
you.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so the
Absolutely.
only thing is inner work, Gaurav. Sometimes, all the coaches and therapists, they do the initial training and then they are all about business, and they kind of skip or bypass the inner work.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that is something that I would say, please don't do that. Like, I request
Right.
you to be committed to your own self first, and only that will bring magic.
Right. So there we go. We understand that selling is an inner game, right?
Yes.
Selling is an
Yes.
inner game. It's not an outer game, right?
No.
And because it's an inner game, we don't have to feel aggressive. We don't have to feel helpless when people don't show up. We don't have to feel disappointed when clients say no. We don't have
Yeah.
to feel bad when there are no likes going up on Instagram, on Facebook, just because you've made a post about your program. You have to keep making offers. and you
Yeah.
have to allow clients to get in touch with you. You don't need 1,000 people responding to your posts, but just like you said, four people is all it took for me to create 27K USD, 27,000 US dollars. That's all, right? And people feel that there's a lot that I have to do. And you have basically broken that down fully. So that's incredible, actually. And so, Shruti, tell us about your journey of being inside ATEPS. That I know that you were a different person in terms of money consciousness before ATEPS, and now, of course, there is a very tangible result that you have created. Just after 1 month of being inside ATEPS, which is we just did our ATEPS for a month in March, and now we are restarting a lifetime membership, which is we keep meeting people every single week to get coached from October onwards. But then you produced your result just by getting coached for that 1 month, and then you kept on doing your own inner work in June, and in April, in May, in June, and then in July you have produced the result, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell us about your experience inside ATEPS.
Yeah. So, one of the major things that shifted in my life from ATEPS was the attitude towards my own thoughts. Okay. I actually came to know the importance of thoughts in a much deeper level in ATEPS. And by the end of 1 month, I was no longer scared to look at my thoughts, at least. That was the beginning of my journey. Before that, I was doing so much trauma work. I was working on my beliefs. However, I was still not very conscious of the kind of thoughts that govern my day-to-day life.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was like a final integration for me when I did the first batch of ATEPS, and I began to actually value my thoughts. And instead of identifying with them, I started just looking at them.
Looking at them as becoming a witness. Yes.
I became a witness, and I was not scared anymore. I was not feeling scared by it.
Yeah.
And even though it was horrifying, the thoughts can be like any thought can come to your brain, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
has got no logic. So,
Right.
so I was looking at them, and I was just trying to be an observer. That was the beginning. And
Right.
then I used to that gave me the courage to apply, actually, Gaurav.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's only when we can separate from that identification, we start applying it. Before that, it was all about listening and letting it happen, whenever it's happening, but it was not a conscious thing before.
Right.
So I could do that daily. After ATEPS, I could just give myself few questions, and I could turn around my thoughts, and that changed my day and my frequency every day.
Every day.
So
That's because you put your heart to the work, right? Shruti, many people, when I tell them it's your thoughts which make your money, and people are not able to believe it. How on earth is that possible? Like, how come thoughts will make money, right? But you have proven it. You have shown that.
you have proven it for me, Gaurav. believe me believe me, you have proven it for me that my thoughts are creating my reality, and I have to drop judgment for all of my thoughts to begin with.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right, right. So, Shruti, our program ATEPS is starting from October onwards. 1st of October, we will be meeting every single week. You will be there in the group, of course, with all other people, and there are lots of people coming up, and then they want to sign up, but then they are also sort of contemplating. Some of them are confused whether they really want to invest 2.5 lakh rupees to be in a lifetime program, which is all about changing your inner reality so that your outer reality, in terms of business, in terms of money, in terms of abundance, changes. What message do you have about all those people who are listening to us right now, listening to this podcast right now,
I have a
and
very strong
contemplating that they want to come to
yeah
ATEPS, but they're also in two minds, right?
yeah, I have a very strong message for them. And the message is that ATIPS will teach you how to follow something that you are interested in, and not just follow something because you are following it and you have no other option. So ATIPS will not just allow you to find your interest, okay? It will also allow you to find your direction to that interest,
Right.
okay?
Right.
And it's a space of incredible possibilities beyond your thinking, okay? So when you are coming
Hmm.
to a space which is beyond thinking, your thoughts should not decide for it.
Yeah.
Your thoughts around money, or and money is just numbers actually. Try to arrange those numbers if you don't have, I would say, because it's a lifetime opportunity
Right.
to join this program. Like everybody in my circle, I'm just telling them to come for this and not think about it, Gaurav.
Right.
Because many of us, we don't know, and until we become a part of it, we will never know.
Right.
We will
Right.
never know.
Right.
So it's just about taking a leap of faith. So my message is, take a leap of faith instead of feeding your thoughts. Your thoughts will not allow you. Your
Right.
thoughts are designed in a way which will not allow you probably to take a decision for your own self. And
Yeah.
maybe it can make you feel guilty sometimes. It was a problem with me.
True.
So
True. Yeah.
there can be many thoughts, but it's more about taking a leap of faith and just going for something that can impact and influence your life so much, and can change and bring ease and allow you to tap into possibilities. Just explore it, and it's a lifetime program. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna
it's
go entire lifetime.
yeah,
Right.
it's a no-brainer, Gaurav. My message is,
Thank
it's a
you.
no-brainer.
Right.
I from my
Right.
heart, like from my heart, like, and I've seen not just it's my story that we're talking about. I have seen our batch of ATEPs, all the people,
True. That is true. Yes.
they've just come out of their shell. It's like magic happening in ATEPs.
I know there are also so many people who did not actually start off their career as a coach.
Yes.
They didn't they didn't start seeing clients, and they still entered ATEPS. And then after ATEPS, they started seeing clients, and then they got clients, and then they made money. So yeah, so it's not necessary that the result that we are looking for is like a grand result. Shruti definitely happens to be a grand result here. She is an exceptional in creating the amount of money, abundance, the amount of inner work that she did for herself as well as for her clients. And we of course celebrate those. We are celebrating that result, but we are also celebrating all those other results that we have inside ATEPS on a day-to-day basis, when people are breaking down their old belief systems and emerging as a completely different version of themselves. So yeah, I mean, on a day-to-day basis, you are right, we have these celebrations going on all the time, right? And that's the
Yeah,
beauty of being inside ATEPS.
even that added to my belief, Gaurav. When I see changes in other people's life, when I see those
Mm,
posts where they are witnessing so much, that adds to my belief as well that it can happen. So having a circle like that, a space like that,
a community, definitely.
having a community is so important, and it's so not recognized right now.
Hmm.
And the more we can bring
Yeah,
people
yeah.
into it, it's going to be amazing. Like, I would say, gift yourself a community like this more than
Right,
anything.
right, right, right. Where you can party every single day. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
So thank you so much, Shruti, for coming to this podcast, honoring us with your journey, telling us everything that putting your entire plan out, basically putting your entire model out. We are always so apprehensive about putting out our business model, but then you put it out so well and in such a simplified way. And that simply shows how safe, secure, and comfortable you are with the money that you make. And that is also something we constantly talk about in ATEPS. So thank you, Shruti, for your presence, for all the experiences that you shared with us, and many, many, many congratulations on the 27K USD in one single month. So thanks a lot for being here.
thank you, Gaurav, for all your support, all your teachings, all your guidance, and all the unlearning that you allowed us to go through. And just for being who you are, like, it's incredible to have you as a mentor, as a guide. It's just amazing. Thank you so much.
deepest gratitude to you, Shruti. Thank you so much. And big thanks to all our audience who are listening to us, and, everyone honoring and I'm sure cheering, Shruti's journey. And I welcome you all inside ATEPS, and come and join as soon as possible. And if it's okay for you to contemplate, for you to not have the funds to join ATEPS, you can still join our Facebook group called You Are Money, which is the link of which is in the show notes. So thank you guys for today. I will speak to you, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed listening to this podcast and are willing to change your business and money reality, head to my free coaching community on Facebook called You Are Money. Link is in the show notes. And do not forget to leave a review on Spotify.com or Apple Podcast. Thank you so much.